We've entered the Aquarius age, where authenticity outweighs conformity and self-expression has become the ultimate asset. Yet there is a hidden truth most overlook. Carl Jung predicted this transformation a century ago, not through economic analysis, but through psychological insight. He wasn't studying financial markets. He was mapping the human psyche. In our culture of relentless productivity and competition, Jung presented a revolutionary idea. You aren't defined by your past experiences, but by the choices you make moving forward. Here is the paradigm shift. What if wealth creation today isn't about increasing output, but about deepening self-knowledge? What if those rejected aspects of yourself, your shadow, could become your greatest creative asset? Keep watching, because these 5 principles aren't about trendy side gigs or digital platforms. They're about generating income from something far more enduring, your authentic self. Let's clarify something up front. Carl Jung isn't trending on social media, launching wealth, building programs, or trading cryptocurrency. But he understood psychological patterns and the inner structure of consciousness better than most understand digital algorithms. Today, Jung's gift was revealing how to access something more powerful than any strategy, the genuine self. If there is a real advantage in our current landscape, it is this: alignment has replaced hustle. Before discussing income, we must explore wholeness. Jung's foundational concepts, individuation and the shadow, provide the framework. Individuation represents the journey toward becoming your complete self, integrating conscious awareness with unconscious elements. It is about embodying your truest expression rather than the version that earned approval, followed expectations, or satisfied others. The shadow encompasses everything you've suppressed: your unconventional nature, your raw emotions, your chaotic impulses, your wild aspirations, your desire to abandon conventional paths and pursue creative adventures. Jung clarified that the shadow isn't malevolent, it is simply unexpressed potential. And within that unexpressed potential often lies your brilliance. Consider this example: a highly successful attorney, respected and accomplished, was secretly unfulfilled. She loved creating cartoons and writing mystical fiction. After burning out and leaving law, she allowed herself to draw freely. Within 2 years, she launched a massively popular webcomic series, generating 6 figures annually, all because she stopped concealing her artistic nature and integrated her inner child. That is individuation manifesting. That is what happens when shadow aspects are welcomed. Here is the crucial insight. We're living in an era where value no longer derives primarily from physical labor. We're transitioning from the sweat for compensation model toward an alignment for impact paradigm. People hunger for authenticity and genuine human connection. They don't seek perfection, they seek resonance. When you present your complete self, including shadow elements, quirks, and dreams, you become compelling. Integration creates expansion. Awareness becomes value. The traditional framework that insisted we must struggle to earn, diminish ourselves to succeed, and compete to advance is collapsing. Artificial intelligence is automating countless tasks. Audiences are developing stronger intuition. Consumers are becoming creators. Expression has become the new marketplace. When you stop contorting yourself to fit existing systems, you realize you've become the system. Your narrative is your strategy. Your presence is your economy. Money becomes a natural consequence of living fully rather than a reward for silent suffering. Before continuing, if you're drawn to expanding consciousness and exploring life's deeper dimensions. Subscribe to Fractal Wisdom to stay connected. By this video's end, you might discover your path to prosperity was hidden within your own story all along. Now let's explore 5 powerful, authentic, spiritually grounded approaches to earning income, not through grinding, but through becoming more of who you genuinely are. Fair warning, these may challenge your inherited beliefs about success. That is precisely the point. When you break mental constraints, money flows where energy was previously blocked. First, shadow-based storytelling, the transformation of expression, that experience you've carried, the heartbreak, the crisis, the struggle, the wounds, the difficult relationships, the shame that silenced you for years. That is valuable. We exist in a world starving for authenticity. Genuineness has transcended buzzword status to become essential. When you share your story with awareness, not seeking sympathy, but offering healing, people connect, people invest to hear it, read it, and experience it. Mental health professionals are becoming content creators. Survivors are becoming authors. Individuals are building courses, podcasts, books, documentaries, even digital journaling platforms, not from credentials, but from depth. What once was hidden has become a signature offering. The shadow whispers that nobody cares. The reality is that is exactly what people need. When you stop performing and start revealing, income appears, sometimes gradually, often unexpectedly, but always after you embrace honesty. Second, soul-guided mentorship. Your experience becomes the teaching. Let's acknowledge reality. Traditional education systems are failing under their own limitations. We were conditioned to believe that credibility required diplomas, titles, and framed certificates, validating our existence. But something radical is unfolding. People are recognizing that information doesn't equal transformation. You can possess degrees yet remain emotionally disconnected. You can hold advanced credentials yet be separated from intuition. You can invest enormous sums in education yet still not understand your purpose. People are exhausted by this disconnect. What we're seeking now is genuine depth, not more information, but inner evolution, not textbooks, but lived wisdom. That is where you enter. If you've navigated something and truly integrated it, you're qualified. You're a guide, not because institutions certified you, but because life initiated you. We don't need more lecturers reading presentations. We need humans who've confronted their shadows, healed generational patterns, and can hold space for others doing the same. Your journey is your authority. People are engaging soul-aligned coaches, guides, intuitive strategists, holistic mentors, not based on some fizz, but based on resonance, on the clarity in your communication, on the groundedness in your energy, on the wisdom you embody. Monetizing your healing doesn't mean exploiting it. It means honoring it. It means recognizing that your survival, your awakening, your perspective offers medicine for others. Whether you provide individual sessions, create spiritual development programs, or simply speak authentically online, remember your truth suffices. The only credentials required now are self-awareness, embodiment, and willingness to accompany others as they remember their essence. And that creates genuine wealth, the kind that nourishes your soul and everyone you touch. Creative transmutation, art from the soul. Notice how your spontaneous creative impulses feel energized. That is because creativity is soul language. The unconscious attempting to communicate through you in this economy where automation replaces routine tasks. What remains sacred is originality. People aren't merely purchasing aesthetics. They're purchasing resonance. You don't need to be a master artist. You just need to be honest in your expression. This could manifest as handmade intuitive art, spoken word poetry, archetypal oracle decks, digital illustrations from dreams, journals, zines, channeled insights. People sense when something flows through a healed heart, and the marketplace reflects that. Your uniqueness, your vision, your metaphors. That is your niche now. Fourth, micro-content wisdom, speaking your frequency. Today's short-form platforms aren't just entertainment spaces. They're digital stages where people generate real income simply by talking, sharing, and being. When your voice emerges from integration, people recognize it. They lean in. Even 30 seconds of grounded, embodied insight can shift someone's perspective. When you post consistently from service, resonance, and curiosity, opportunities find you. Paid speaking, collaborations, content monetization, even spiritual mentorships. You're not an influencer, you're a beacon, and people notice those who illuminate the path. Fifth, conscious community creation, monetizing connection. This may be the most undervalued income stream. You don't need thousands of followers. You need genuine connections. If you possess a unique perspective, worldview, or lived experience, others like you are searching for you. You can create intentional group spaces for self-discovery, online healing circles, niche newsletters, paid community platforms, supported content that evolves with your audience. This isn't about positioning yourself as a guru. It is about being a mirror. Create spaces where people feel witnessed, and money becomes a byproduct of that trust. Notice that none of these income approaches require becoming someone else. They're about releasing who you were told to be and remembering what you already are. Jung's teaching wasn't that we needed fixing, but that we needed to see ourselves completely light and darkness, persona and mystery. That wholeness isn't merely spiritual, it is practical. When you know yourself, you stop chasing. When you stop chasing, you start attracting. By now, you've seen how money transcends economics. It is about energy, alignment, and truth. Perhaps part of you feels excited, while another part whispers doubts. Who would pay me for this? I'm not qualified yet. What if I fail? What if I'm too late? What if I'm insufficient? That is not your authentic voice. That is your conditioning, your personal unconscious, and deeper still, the collective unconscious Jung described. Carl Jung didn't merely offer theories. He provided a map of the psyche. Within that map exist archetypes, universal patterns living inside everyone. Some archetypes elevate us, others block our potential. If you've struggled to monetize your gifts, you're likely entangled with one or more internal characters, stories you didn't create but keep repeating. Today we'll identify 5 common abundance, blocking archetypes, and more importantly, learn to rewrite them. First, the obedient student. This archetype insists, follow rules, do it correctly. Seek approval first. It is the voice of perfectionism, of waiting for permission, of seeking authority validation. This tells you not to launch your offering, not to share your art, not to request payment, because you haven't learned enough yet. But mastery doesn't precede action. It emerges through it to transcend the obedience, to shift from seeking approval to sharing your evolution. Reveal your process, be human, be authentic. That builds trust. You're permitted to teach while growing, to sell your insights while becoming. That is not fraudulent, that is real-time leadership. Second, the silent healer. This one is subtle. It is the part wanting to help, hold, heal, but never charge. It questions, how can I request money when people suffer? It romanticizes struggle and spiritualizes poverty. But understand, you cannot pour from depletion. Healing isn't free. It costs time, energy, presence, preparation. This archetype must understand that money isn't a betrayal of service. It is sacred exchange, enabling sustainable service. The reframe, your healed energy is a resource. Let it circulate. Third, the starving artist. This archetype believes authentic creativity requires pain, that genuine expression demands suffering, and that money corrupts art. This is romantic mythology, but dangerously limiting because it keeps brilliant people impoverished and exhausted. Jung would identify this as shadow projection, refusing to let the inner child experience abundance, clinging to drama instead of allowing joy as muse. To dissolve this, recognize money not as threat, but as amplification for your art, giving it reach, letting it travel, connecting it with those who need it. Abundance doesn't diminish creativity, it liberates it. Fourth, the invisible one. You've been hiding not from apathy, but because deep down you believe invisibility is safer. This archetype learned early that visibility invites judgment, rejection, or danger. So you've kept your voice quiet, your magic private, your power dimmed. But this moment demands visibility. Spiritually and economically, the invisible one must become the sacred witness. You can be gentle and visible, soft and bold. You don't need to shout to be seen. Just stand in your truth and let others feel your presence. Fifth, the overgiver. This archetype gives excessively over, explains, over-delivers, overworks. It stems from unworthiness, declaring, I must prove I deserve receiving. This is exhaustion masquerading as generosity. It is not noble. It is survival. To heal the overgiver, reclaim your right to receive. Rest and be supported. You don't need to justify your pricing with excessive bonuses. You don't need to respond to every message immediately. You're allowed to give from overflow, not obligation. Abundance flows through balanced exchange. You give, you receive, you breathe. Here is the deeper truth. Money today isn't about credentials. It is about coherence, not about volume but alignment. People don't pay you for perfection. They pay you for authenticity. The more you integrate these inner archetypes by recognizing them, healing them, rewriting them, the more naturally opportunities, clients, and ideas arrive. Not because you pursued them, but because you became available for them. That is the revolution. Jung never witnessed but absolutely foresaw a world where inner work becomes outer wealth, where consciousness becomes Earth's most valuable asset. Now that you've encountered the parts holding you back, perhaps for the first time you're sensing it, this shift happening beneath the surface. It is no longer just about generating income, but about creating meaning, about designing a life where your gifts are the offering, your healing is the evidence, and your energy, when intentionally directed, becomes the magnet for abundance. Now that you've made the unconscious conscious, now that you see yourself, everything changes. Let's discuss how to embody this, how to actually build a lifestyle and income around your inner truth. This isn't a marketing funnel, it is a frequency blueprint. First, anchor into core presence. Begin here. What energy does your presence transmit effortlessly? Not the role you've performed, not the job title, but the actual frequency you bring into spaces. Is it grounding, catalytic, mystical, gentle, incisive, playful, poetic? Your income becomes sustainable only when your output matches your authentic state. That means anchoring your offerings, content, and services in that energy, not trends. Ask yourself, if my soul had a business model, what would it be? Then build from that foundation. No persona, no branding costume, just an essence always resonates. Second, build a resonant offering ecosystem. This is where structure meets soul. Consider your energy like a narrative arc. Some people discover you at the beginning. Others enter midway. What do you want to offer them at each point? Here is a powerful structure many soul-led creators use currently: free resonance, your medicine for the collective. Short-form videos, writing, audio, intuitive insights, personal truths, archetypal stories. Not to convert, just to connect. Low entry offering, an accessible workshop, class, or creative product, allowing people to deepen connection. Core signature offering, the heartbeat, individual service, group program, immersive mentorship, online course, rooted in your deepest transmission community container, a membership or recurring sacred space where people grow with you. This creates continuity emotionally and financially. You don't need to force these, start with one. Let others emerge as you evolve. Let your business model mirror your psyche, fluid, cyclical, alive. Third, time shape your life for joy and flow. Money without freedom is merely another constraint. So let's reverse the formula. Instead of building life around work, build work around life. Ask yourself, when am I most energized? How many hours weekly do I genuinely want to offer others? What kinds of clients or audiences reciprocate energy? How much income do I need to feel secure, safe, creative? Then reverse. Engineer your offerings to match those answers. No more depleting schedules. No more sacrificing your essence for external deadlines. You're not here to be productive. You're here to be empowered. Fourth, maintain the ritual of creativity. Here is something business schools omit. Creativity isn't optional. It is nervous system regulation. It is spiritual hygiene. It is how you maintain clarity to serve. Your creativity is your compass. When you stop tending it, you lose direction. So daily, create space for non-monetized creativity. Write, draw, dance, daydream, shadow journaling to clear unconscious residue, somatic movement to unfreeze and integrate. Sitting in silence so your authentic voice emerges. These maintain your magic. Fifth, let your evolution guide your expansion. Here is the ultimate truth. Your income will always reflect your self-trust level, and self-trust grows when you stop clinging to outdated versions of yourself. The model, the niche, the content style, all are meant to evolve. So allow it when your inner world upgrades. Let your outer offerings shift too. Let your pricing rise with your power, your voice deepen with your clarity, your audience grow with your truth. You're not building a brand. You're building a body of work. What Jung revealed, and what many are finally learning to embody, is that the external world echoes the internal world. The more you integrate, the more you receive, the more you express, the more you magnetize, the more you honor your truth, the more life honors you back. Yes, that includes money, but more importantly, it includes peace. So here is the invitation. Don't just consume this. Let it land. Let it reshape how you perceive work, wealth, and worth. The old paradigm of hustle, burnout, and faceless labor is obsolete. We're creating a new economy, one soul at a time. If this journey resonated with you, share it. Let others know we no longer need to trade truth for survival. Subscribe to Fractal Wisdom and join a collective living deeper, not louder. This is the future. Jung foresaw it. We're embodying it. Now it is your turn to live it. Go create the life your soul has been whispering about, and let prosperity follow.